Hello everyone, this is Nandini Tripathi. I run my class Roots Academy based in Mira Road. I hope you people are doing well. Don't go out, stay at home. And we started with the digital teaching where we record lectures subject wise, topic wise, and we upload it. Based on that, we clear the doubt. You can ask your doubt and we will try to help you out. Today's session is based on gravitational topic where we this is very important topic for 9th standard as well as 10th standard SSC board. So you can go through the video, share to your near and dear one, and you can do ask us doubt and we will help you out. So let's start with the topic. So today we are going to learn the topic gravitation for class 9. This is again very much important topic for class 10th SSC board. Now we are familiar with this word, we know what is this. In our previous chapter we learned that due to the motion, the force is responsible for the motion. For any motion we require a force. So here also when a stone dropped from a height, when stone fell down, there is a certain force which attract that stone, and that is the reason stone comes down. Okay, so here I have written down a stone dropped from a height falls towards the earth because the earth exerts a force of attraction on the stone and it pulls down. Okay, the stone comes down because of force of attraction which is acting on the stone, and that force pulls that stone to come down. Okay, that force of attraction is nothing but it is a gravity. It is a gravitational force. Now every object in the universe attract every other object. Yes, not only that every object get attracted to the earth, but yes, whatever the object in our surrounding in this universe, they do get attracted to every other object. For example, if there is a two body which has very low mass, they do get attracted to each other. There is a force of attraction between this two body. There is a gravitational force between this two body also, but they do not get attracted. Reason, because this force is quite less. Why it is quite less? Because the mass is very less. Okay, so force is less just because the mass is very less. But if there is one body, for example earth, okay, as we know earth has very large mass. Earth has large mass, so obviously the force is also large, gravitational force is also large, and this gravitational force attracts other body, and due to this body do comes towards the earth. For example stone, the stone do get attracted to the earth because the force of attraction between earth and that stone is very much high, and that is the reason stone comes down. Okay, leaf comes down, water flow in the river. Okay, why? Because the force of attraction between the earth and that object is stronger, it's more. The another concept is universal law of gravitation. What is universal law of gravitation? Again this law is stated by Isaac Newton. According to this law, every body in the universe attract every other body with a force which is directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Means that whatever the body which is there in this universe, they do get attracted to each other, and this force of attraction depends on their masses. Okay, whatever the masses are there, it depends on their masses, product of their masses, and inversely proportional to the distance, square of their distance. For example, there is a two body A and B, and their masses is m1 and m2, and the distance is r. According to this law, F is directly proportional to m1 and m2. The product of F is directly proportional to m1 and m2. Force is inversely proportional to the square of distance. Okay, that is F is directly proportional 1 upon r square. When we combine both the equation 1 and 2, we get force is directly proportional to the product of masses m1 into m2 and r square. Okay, then we get F equals to G into m1 m2 upon r square. Okay, what is G now? G is nothing but it is a constant, that is the universal constant. Okay, it is a universal gravitational constant because G does not depend on any medium. In whatever the medium the object is there, it does not depend on it. Also, it does not depend on the masses of that object. So G is the constant value and its value is 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 10 Newton meter square upon kg square. It's a vector quantity and this is the unit of gravitational constant. Okay. So this what we learned. This what we learned about the gravitational universal constant. So as we done with the concept of universal gravitational constant, now the another concept is gravitational force between the object of small size and big size. As we know that every object attract every other object. Okay, so every object in this universe, they do get attracts the other object. Okay, every other object, the force of attractions are between the two object. Okay, now so like the gravitational force between the object of small size here, like if there is a two ball, okay, both the ball has a mass of 1 kg and 1 kg, and the radius, the distance between this ball is 1 meter. Okay, and when we put this all value in the universal gravitational constant expression, we get that force is equals to 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11. As this force is very much less, that this two object, they do not get move, they do not, there is no motion between this two object. Okay, they do get attracted, there is a force between this two body, they are do attracting each other, but there is no motion because this mass of this object is very less. As the mass is very less, so obviously the force will be very less. See, the force is 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11. That is quite less force. That is quite what? Less force. As the force is less, obviously there will be no motion. But if, however, if any one object, if it has a more mass, if it has a large mass, for example, Earth. Okay, so Earth has a large mass. When Earth has large mass, obviously the force will be more. Let's see. Earth, it has a mass 6 into 10 raised to 24. This is the mass of the Earth. Okay, and the radius from the center of the Earth, the object, the ball is there, and the radius is 6.4 into 10 raised to 24, and gravitational constant value is nothing but 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11. When we substitute all the value in the gravitational constant expression, we get F value as 9.8 Newton. So we are getting the gravitational force value. Okay, so this is the gravitational force value of Earth. This is the force value that Earth exert on other object. Now you can see the force is quite large. Why the force is quite large? Because the Earth mass is more. As the Earth mass is more, obviously the force will be more and the force of attraction will be more. And that is the reason the stone, they do get attracted towards the Earth. It comes down, it falls down. Okay, because the mass, any of the mass, okay, should be more. Any of the body mass should be more. So here in this case, the Earth mass is more. The force also increases because the mass is more. As the force increases, obviously the object, they do get attracted. Okay, that is the reason everything, they do get attracted towards the Earth because the force of attraction is more. Okay, that is the reason the sun and the Earth, they why? Because both has more mass. So obviously the gravitational force between sun and the Earth will be more. Okay, so if there is more mass, the gravitational force will be more and there will be a motion between them. Okay, they will do get attracted to each other. Okay, so another concept that we are going to learn is the gravitational force hold the solar system. We know the gravitation, we know the solar system. In our solar system, we know there is a sun, there is a planet. Okay, the planet revolve around the sun and the satellite revolve around the planet. Now there is a centripetal force. Okay, there is a force needed, that is a centripetal force needed for a planet and a satellite to revolve around the sun and the planet respectively in a circular manner. And this centripetal force is provided by a gravitational force. Okay, like if when Earth is revolving around the sun, there should be a centripetal force. which helps the earth to move in a circular manner, okay, to move in a circular orbit, to move in a uniform circular speed, okay. And that force is a centripetal force, and that centripetal force is provided by a gravitational force of the sun, okay. Same case in a satellite as well. Like when satellite move in a uniform circular manner, and this is due to a centripetal force, and that centripetal force is provided by the earth gravitational force, okay. Now we know that sun has large mass. Sun and earth, they do have a large mass. As they have a large mass, so obviously the gravitational force will be more. As gravitational force is more, so earth move around the sun in uniform constant speed. Same goes with the satellite as well. Satellite move around the planet in a constant speed, because they both are heavy body. As both the satellite and the planets are heavy body, so obviously the gravitational force will be more. And due to this gravitational force, what happened, the centripetal force is provided, and the planet and the satellite, they move in a circular orbit in a constant speed, okay. Now this gravitational force, this concept has made us explain about the motion of the planet, okay, how why there is a tides in a sea, okay. So this based on this concept, we can understand all those concepts. There is another concept called Kepler's law of planetary motion. Now according to this Kepler planetary motion, there is a 3 law state. First law, the planet move in an elliptical order around the sun with the sun at one of the 2 foci at the elliptical order. Now we know that according to this law, it states that planet, they revolve in an eclipse manner. They don't move in a exact circular manner. They move in an eclipse orbit, whereas sun, there is a 2 focus, there is a 2 foci, F1 and F2. The sun can be at any of that foci. So here I have shown you the diagram. The planet is moving around the sun in an eclipse manner, and the sun is at one of the foci, that is F1. So the first law states that planet moves in an eclipse manner and the sun is at one of the foci. Second, each planet revolves around the sun in such a way that the line joining the planet to the sun sweeps equal areas at equal interval of time. What that mean? Now here I have drawn the diagram. This is my sun, and this is like my planet, okay. Now as we know from the first law, that planet, they move in an eclipse manner, okay. So when planet is nearer to the sun, like here, as it is an eclipse manner, so obviously the radius will be different, okay. So when planet will be in this side, so obviously it is much nearer to the sun. So when planet is nearer to the sun, it moves faster, and when planet is away from the sun, it moves little bit slow. It moves slow, okay. Here when the planet is moving faster, it is covering the area C, ABC. It covers the area ABC in a time t. When it is away from the sun, okay, in this side, when it is away from the sun, it covers the area A dash B dash in a time t, okay, in a same time t. It states that planet, it cover equal area, okay. Like here it is in a more speed, so obviously it is covering the ABC, that is that much area. But when it is away from the sun, it is moving little bit slow. It is moving slow, but the area cover is same in a time t. So when it is more nearer or away, it covers the equal area at equal interval of time. This what second law states, that planet, they do not move in a they do not move in a same speed. Why they are not moving in a same speed? Because it is moving in an eclipse order. Third, the third law states that the cube of the mean distance of a planet from the sun is directly proportional to the square of time it takes to move around the sun. So r is the distance, okay, mean distance of planet from the sun. So what I have taken, r cube, as it is stated in the law itself, mean cube distance, cube of the mean distance. So r is the distance of planet from the sun. I have taken r cube, and mean cube is directly proportional to the time, time in a square. Okay, the time taken by a planet to revolve around the sun, and that is in the square. So my mean cube distance is directly proportional to the square of the time taken by a planet to revolve around the sun. So r cube becomes equals to constant multiplied by t square. Okay, when I have taken the t square over here, so it become r cube upon t square equals to constant. So this what my third law states. Okay, this Kepler law is the planetary motion, but it does not able to explain the motion of the planet. The motion of the planet is again explained by Newton. We will learn that thing later on my next session. Till that time, just go through the video and ask your doubt. Thank you.